The function will now begin with the formal lighting of the lamp. May I request the dignitaries on stage, led by the Honorable Union Minister of Human Resource Development, Shri Arjun Singh, to light the lamp by pressing the remote. Sir, could you click on to the remote, please? Well, you'll see the magic of technology where distance is no boundary as we shrink into the global village. Honorable Chief Minister Dr. S.Y.S. Rajashekara Reddy, Honorable Union Minister of State, Ministry of Human Resource Development, Srimati D. Purandeshwari, Minister of Technical Education, Dr. Chengar Reddy, and Dr. Chitha Mohan, Honorable Member of Parliament, Tirupati.
May I now request Shri R.P. Agrawal, Secretary, Department of Higher Education and MHRD, to deliver the welcome address.
ఈ సభకు ముఖ్య అతిథిగా చేసిన కేంద్ర మానవ సంసాధన వికాస్ మంత్రివర్యులు గౌరవనీయులు పెద్దలు శ్రీ అర్జున్ సింగ్ గారు, సభా అధ్యక్షులు ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ రాష్ట్ర ముఖ్యమంత్రి గౌరవనీయులు వైఎస్ రాజశేఖర రెడ్డి గారు, గౌరవ అతిథులు మినిస్టర్ ఆఫ్ స్టేట్ ఆఫ్ హెచ్ఆర్డి గౌరవనీయులు డి పురంధేశ్వరి గారు, ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ రాష్ట్ర తక్నీకీ శాఖ కోర్ట్స్ మరియు ఐటీ మంత్రివర్యులు గౌరవనీయులు ఆర్ చంద్రారెడ్డి గారు, మెడికల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ మంత్రివర్యులు గౌరవనీయులు అరుణా కుమారి గారు, స్థానిక సంసద్ సభ్యులు గౌరవనీయులు డాక్టర్ చింతామణి గారు, వేదిక అలంకరించిన స్నేహితులు శ్రీ రమాకాంత్ రెడ్డి గారు, సహచరులు అశోక్ గారు, ఎన్కే సిన్హా గారు, చైర్మన్ యూజీసీ సుఖదేవ్ థోరట్ గారు, ఐఐటి నిర్దేశకులు, ఎన్ఐటి నిర్దేశకులు, ఉపాధ్యక్షులు, విభిన్న రాష్ట్రాల నుండి విచ్చేసిన విద్యా శాఖ సచివులు, మన ఆహ్వానాన్ని మన్నించి ఇక్కడ విచ్చేసిన అతిథులు, ఈ మిషన్ కి విజయవంతంగా చేయడానికి కృషి చేసిన సహచరులు, పత్రికా విలేకరులు, యువతి యువకులారా, సోదర శ్రీమన్లారా, భారత్ భావి పౌరులారా, ఎన్నో కార్యక్రమాలు ఉన్నప్పటికీ వీలు చేసుకుని ఈ సభకు ముఖ్య అతిథిగా చేసిన గౌరవనీయులు అర్జున్ సింగ్ గారికి మరియు శాసనసభ జరిగినప్పటికీ మా ఆహ్వానాన్ని మన్నించి వీలు చేసుకొని చేసిన ఈ సభకు అధ్యక్షత వహించిన గౌరవనీయులు రాష్ట్ర ముఖ్యమంత్రి వైఎస్ రాజశేఖర రెడ్డి గారికి మీ తరఫున మానవ సంసాధన వికాస్ మంత్రాలయ తరఫున వందనంతో కూడిన స్వాగతం, సుస్వాగతం. అలాగనే వీలు చేసి ఈ సభకు గౌరవ అతిథులుగా వచ్చేసిన పురంధేశ్వరి గారికి, ఆర్ చెంగారెడ్డి గారికి, డాక్టర్ చింతామోహన్ గారికి, సునా గారికి స్వాగతం సుస్వాగతం పలుకుతున్నాను. ప్రత్యేకమైన శాసనసభ్యులు చీఫ్ సెక్రటరీ గారికి, అశోక్ గారికి, కృష్ణ గారికి, మీ అందరికీ నా స్వాగతం స్వాగతం. It is my privilege today to welcome all of you in this temple of education located in the holy city of Tirupati on this auspicious occasion of the launch of centuries schemes of National Mission on Education through ICT and Mission on Polytechnics, which includes giving financial assistance to the state governments for strengthening the existing polytechnics, construction of human hostels in those polytechnics, establishment of 100 new polytechnics in unserved and underserved districts, including through PPP mode, as well as of revamped community polytechnics scheme by the Honorable Union Minister of Human Resource Development, Shri Arjun Singh Ji. We are extremely grateful to the Honorable Minister of Human Resource Development and our Minister for Higher Education for their very able guidance and constant encouragement and inspiration for identifying and formulating, as well as grateful to them for getting them approved by the competent authorities, such path-breaking novel schemes for the development and bringing excellence to the higher education system. Friends, it's due to the tireless efforts of our Honorable Human Resource Development Minister that the NDC approved 11th five-year plan budget outlay for the higher education department is roughly 10 times of the expenditure as was incurred in the previous 10th five-year plan. The National Mission on Education through ICT has been designed to utilize the tremendous potential of ICT in teaching and learning processes. The technology can be used for making available quality education to masses at institutions across the country which may be disadvantaged and backward, as the educational facilities and infrastructure available there may not be at par with what we have in metro cities and other educational hubs. Through this mission, we intend to achieve our composite goals of ensuring access with equity and excellence in higher education, as well as bridge the digital divide which exists in our society today. I am happy to say that today you will get a glimpse of the power, capability, and the range of utilities of this mission to the society. Riding on the cost effectiveness of technologies in the ICT field, we intend to accelerate efforts for ensuring enhancement of GR of higher education system by at least 5 percentage points during the 11th five-year plan. Adopting open access strategy and ensuring that the entire e-content generated under this mission is given and made available free of cost to every learner, I think is definitely a proper tilt in the mission. Close cooperation with other sister organizations would ensure that there is no duplication of effort and there is full synergy. Under this mission, a proper balance between content generation, research in critical areas relating to the imparting of education, and connectivity for integrating our knowledge with advancements in other countries will be attempted. For this, we hope to have a critical mass of experts in every field working in a networked manner with dedication and sincerity. The mission would work for available high-quality knowledge modules of right contents to the teaching and learning community across the country, the cyberspace. The benefit of teaching by experts and renowned faculty, especially in the advanced subjects and courses, is proposed to be made available not only to the students enrolled in such premier institutions located in towns, metros and small cities, but also to any learner who has the zeal and patience to acquire such a knowledge. This would be akin to, let me submit, Guru come to the homes of the learners through ICT, and the old concept of, if I may say, Gurukulam would be giving away to Shishakulam. This Gurukulam will become Shishakulam. Removal of barriers to higher education field would ensure that the modern day Ekalavya's do not face any discrimination, and in any case will not have to sacrifice their thumb for self-improvement. The fund of knowledge, which used to double every 20 to 30 years towards the end of last century, perhaps doubled every 10 to 11 years in the 70s. And now I am told the knowledge fund is threatening to double every few months, if not in a few weeks. There is therefore dire need for everyone to learn, unlearn and relearn. We have realized the importance and urgency to empower the teaching community with ICT teaching tools so that they can update and refurbish their knowledge and utilize it for the benefit of the students. Therefore, to achieve this holistic goal, a special component has been incorporated in the mission for imparting the skills of using the computers and other devices that provide access to the knowledge modules in the cyberspace, as also to utilize the ICT tools for teaching and learning process. Considering the importance of research and innovation in higher education field, the department has given importance to the activities that are essential for promotion of research as well as motivation of students and teaching communities to innovate. The mission shall work for providing access to high quality texts, research journals to the academic community, all cities and towns in the country through its component of e-books and e-journals. Giving consideration to the fact that ICT is moving very fast and touching new domains day by day, a strong component of research for innovation and development of new ICT tools has been included in the mission. Under this component, the mission shall encourage experts, technologists, academic community to undertake research projects in the fields of pedagogy for development of quality e-contents to make the understanding of even very difficult, hard topics easier, development of new ICT tools for developing e-contents, development of low cost and low power consuming access and compute devices. You will get a demonstration of this today during the launch function. We are attempting to have very low cost computing device in near future, which should be in the range of $20 to $30 immediately, depending on the numbers we order. Innovations in ICT to develop virtual laboratories and development of hepatic devices for imparting practical knowledge to undertake certain mechanical jobs with precision, etc. We realized that the mission would not achieve this goal until and unless our colleges and institutions of higher learning are equipped with computing and access devices. It is also connected to cyberspace through high-speed bandwidth connectivity. Therefore, we have assigned top priority to this activity under the mission. We propose to provide connectivity to internet at a minimum 5 Mbps speed to all the institutions of higher learning, numbering about 20,000 degree colleges and over 400 universities with about 20 departments on average each to begin with. While central government institutions would get this connectivity free of cost, for the other institutions, including the private institutions, we have put a nominal small fee of 25% of the recurring charges. As I said, e-content would be made available free of cost. With a huge physical infrastructure available in the conventional mode of teaching, we also have great flexibility to the distance education mode. In a developing country like ours, we cannot afford not to have the synergy between the two systems. Thus, the positive transformation in the education field would not be possible unless we attain synergies between conventional mode of teaching and e-learning and distance mode of teaching. Our attempt would be to derive the benefits of both systems, to retain the primary of teachers. All this is not to replace the teachers, but it's to supplement and empower them so as they can bring excellence in this higher education system. I hope the state governments, universities, colleges, institutions of higher learning would take the full advantage of this opportunity for the benefit of their students, teaching community, and contribute to the national effort of improving the standards of teaching and promotion of research, as well as bring excellence in our institutions of higher learning. With these words, I once again extend a very, very warm and hearty welcome to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. May I request Dr. Chinta Mohan, the Honorable Member of Parliament, Tirupati, to deliver his address.
Statesman, architect of backward class reservations in India, Honorable Minister, Human Resources Development, Sri Arjun Singh, leader with vision and wisdom, architect of modern Andhra Pradesh, who changed the lives of millions of women, farmers, physically challenged, old people in this state, Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Y.S. Rajasekhar Reddy ji, Honorable Minister Srimati Sundareswari ji, who got an illustrious background, and Honorable Minister for Technical Education, Honorable Minister for Medical and Health, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Secretary Higher Education Sri R.P. Agarwal, University Grants Commission Chairman Sri Sukhdev ji, and distinguished Chief Secretary of Andhra Pradesh, distinguished dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, directors of several institutions, vice chancellors, and intellectuals of this town, students and friends. Before I speak about this mission, I like to say a word about this university. This university started about 55 years back with philosophy taken from Upanishads. And in Upanishads it said, knowledge without divine grace will not be useful to the society. And from this knowledge center started with nucleus people before us and the environment, 7 holy hills. This university was started by late Prakasham, the then Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. And any university will be named after any national leader, like Jawaharlal Nehru University. or the name of a place, Banaras Hindu University, or the founder of a university, or Ramarao Medical University. But this unique university is named after a deity, Sri Lord Venkateswara, who is the chancellor of all chancellors, And this university is dedicated to him with a big philosophy in mind. And this mission also, probably with the same philosophy, this mission should have started today here. We have completed 10 5-year plans. 11th plan we are entering. In the 11th plan, we have come with some mission. Earlier, several missions have failed, several missions are successful. This mission probably to become successful, it needs divine grace. What it is said in Upanishads, what it is said, the philosophy of the Sri Venkateswara University, both are relating with each other. I wish this mission will be very successful because it is at the feet of Lord Venkateswara of Tirupati. With his divine blessings, this mission will be successful. Before launching of this mission, I have my worries in my mind. How this mission is going to help the poor people of this country who do not have 2 meals a day. I wanted to know how this mission is going to be to the marginalized sections of the people of this country. How this mission is going to help the marginalized villages in this country. I want light to be thrown on these subjects before we get into this mission. I have seen that calling for the applications. Agarwalji has mentioned here that the mission of this, the objectives of this mission. But before we get into this mission, we have to think about the marginalized sections who do not have 2 square meals per day, but they wanted to do higher education in this country. There are only 1% of the people who are able to come to higher education. We wanted to enhance it to 5% before enhancing it, but think about the people who wanted to come to higher education, the poorer sections of the society. And also, I like to mention about skilled staff. Without thinking of skilled staff, I am worried whether this mission will be successful. Before launching this mission, think of a skilled staff. We have computers in this several universities, but do not have technicians. Without technicians and skilled staff, I don't think any mission will be successful. So to launch this, please think about it. Coming to the achievements of my government, UPA government, in the field of education, I like to mention 4 important achievements after 4.5 years of completion. One is a midday meal program. This midday meal program has become very successful in this country. My party in power, my government, when UPA government launched this program, we are giving midday meal for 12.5 crore people in this country. No government in power was able to do this, but my government, Congress party, is able to do this. And not only giving the meal in the primary schools, we are giving the eggs for the poor children who are studying the primary schools and upper primary schools. And also we are giving fish in some places like West Bengal in this midday meal program. This is a laudable achievement of this UPA government. Coming to the constitutional amendment, giving reservation for backward classes, which no government was able to do this. UPA government brought this constitutional amendment. The architect of this amendment is Dr. Arjun Singh Ji, Honorable Minister for Human Resources Development. He is the architect of this constitutional amendment. Today, other backward classes are joining in IAS, IPS, getting into the services through PSC. This is the achievement of this Congress party and the government in the center and the state. And also, I have to say about the revolution in technical education. This government brought the revolution in technical education. Earlier, a few decades back, there used to be 100 engineering colleges in this country. There used to be 6,000 children used to get admission in these engineering colleges. Today, we have 8,500 engineering colleges in this country. 85 times. This government has revolutionized the whole thing. Everybody, a son of a rickshaw, a daughter, agricultural labor enter into the engineering colleges without any problem. In addition to this, I like to say my state government, my beloved Chief Minister, what he has done to this education. He is paying that even the tuition fees for all sections, not the deprived sections alone, even for the meritorious students who are not able to pay these tuition fees, my government of Andhra Pradesh and my Lord Chief Minister has taken this decision to pay for all these to poorer sections. This is a major achievement, third achievement of this government. Finally, I like to say, for a plan or a program or a mission, budget is more important. Without budget, we cannot do anything. In the 10th plan, budget allocation was 8,000 crores. In the 11th plan, it has come to 85,000 crores. Agarwalji said 10 times more. This is the acumen of Arjun Singh ji and the blessings of Sonia Gandhi, the blessings of Dr. Manmohan Singh and the united effort of Dr. Rajsekhar Reddy. We are able to bring this budget to 85,000 crores. With this 85,000 crores, we are able to start thousands of polytechnics in this country. We are able to start thousands of industrial training institutes in this country. We are able to start new central universities, and we are able to start new IIMs, IITs, whatnot, everything in this country we are able to start, include this interactive communication technology mission today. This is all because of the budget allocation of the government of India and UP government. The Congress party which is in power is able to bring all these changes, all the laudable achievements, praiseworthy achievements of the UPA government after 4.5 years time. Finally, before I conclude, I like to say something about this university. I went to Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh several times. I requested Honorable Minister Sri Arjun Singh ji several times to make this university the central university. Prime Minister has promised that he will make this university central university. Honorable Human Resources Development Minister several times he said he will do the needful, but somehow it missed the attention in the 17 new central universities which is going in the form of through the ordinance route. If not today, tomorrow, if not tomorrow, at least in this year 2009, I request the Government of India to make this university as central university. With this I conclude. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. May I now request Srimati D. Purandeshwari, the Honorable Union Minister of State of Human Resource Development, to address the gathering.
సభాయ నమః అంటూ సమామర్యాదను పాటిస్తూ వెంకటేశ్వరుడి పాదానికి పాదాభివందనం చేస్తూ వేదిక మీద ఉన్నటువంటి పెద్దలు మినిస్టర్ ఫర్ హ్యూమన్ రిసోర్స్ డెవలప్మెంట్ శ్రీ అర్జున్ సింగ్ గారికి, పెద్దలు రాష్ట్ర ముఖ్యమంత్రి వర్యులు శ్రీ రాజశేఖర్ గారికి, మినిస్టర్ ఆఫ్ టెక్నికల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఏపీ శ్రీ చెంగారెడ్డి గారికి, మినిస్టర్ ఆఫ్ మెడికల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ శ్రీమతి అరుణ గారికి, సెక్రటరీ హైయర్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా ఆర్పి అగర్వాల్ గారికి, రమాకాంత్ రెడ్డి గారికి, చీఫ్ సెక్రటరీ గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఏపీ, అశోక్ ఠాకూర్ గారికి, ఎన్కే సిన్హా గారికి, వేదిక ముందున్నటువంటి విశిష్ట అతిథులకి, కులపతులకు, డైరెక్టర్లకి, ఆహ్వానితులకు, సోదర సోదరీమణులకు, విద్యార్థులకు, పెద్దలకు అందరికీ ముందుగా నా నమస్కారాన్ని నేను తెలియజేసుకుంటున్నాను. It is my privilege to be here today as part of the launch of this great mission which has been our dream from the Government of India to give to the children of our country. And this is exactly what we meant when we said that we would make education accessible to even the last child living in the most remotest of the areas of our country. It is my privilege again to be introducing to you the components of this very ambitious program. And I say very ambitious because this program is one which is being launched today with a budget of about 4,612 crores, trying to reach the remotest of the areas in an effort to increase gross enrollment ratio from 10% as it is today to ensure that we reach the 50% GER, which we have been aspiring to do by the end of the 11th five-year plan, that is, by the end of 2012. The mission has two major components: A, content generation, and B, connectivity, along with the provision of access devices for institutions and learners. It seeks to bridge the digital and knowledge divide, narrowing the gap between those urban and rural teachers and learners who can and cannot use computing devices for the purpose of teaching and learning in the domain of higher education. This scheme aims at empowering those who have hitherto remained untouched by the digital revolution and therefore have not been able to join the mainstream of the knowledge economy. It plans to focus also on virtual labs, online testing and certification, online availability of teachers to guide mentor learners, empower teachers with ICT. In order to provide unfettered access to the various platforms and content generated in this mission, we propose to use various different media and technologies for dissemination. These will include content delivery through EduSat, and narrowcasting of TV signals, providing a large number of DTH channels so that a separate DTH channel is available for every subject over the internet and the IPTV. The mission will create high-quality e-content in the form of videos, DVDs, books, Bharatpedia, which would be a peer group assisted content development platform under the supervision of a content advisory group. The mission will also emphasize on developing language conversion tools for all Indian languages. It shall be the endeavor of the mission to continuously work for enriching the repository of e-contents for the nation. For the purpose, it shall encourage academicians, scholars, and institutions to contribute to the world of knowledge in cyberspace by creating e-knowledge content. The mission would also evolve a mechanism to rate the quality of the e-content generated before admitting it to the National Repository. As a custodian of the National Repository of e-content, the mission shall undertake an exercise for indexing the available e-content for its easier retrieval and access by learners. The mission shall work on the philosophy of encouraging all the scholars and academicians to generate e-content. This may even result in generation of more than one set of e-content on one topic in any given discipline. This philosophy has been adopted because of pedagogical considerations and the fact that different kinds of learners have different learning aptitudes. Therefore, one kind of e-content can be appreciated in a better way by one set of learners and the other kind of e-content by other set of learners. Benchmarking the learning content would ensure quality, which is central to the philosophy of the mission. As content generation shall take place at various places by different sets of experts, the development of quality assurance procedures and testing mechanisms is essential. These tools shall be deployed on the mission website so that anybody developing content can routinely use these to get proper feedback. A large quantity of e-learning material in digital form is already available. Therefore, the mission shall undertake an exercise to evaluate the already available e-learning material as well as the one which is being or is be generated and grade them for the benefit of the learners. The mission shall also attempt to provide guidance to them in order to facilitate their searching for quality material. There are a number of specializations for the master's programs offered in the university system. However, very few universities offer state-of-the-art and relevant courses. Hence, it is important to develop courses which would add value to the individuals and assist them in getting integrated knowledge and in expanding their horizons. For this purpose, we need courses like project management, case studies, policy level debates, and economics for non-art students. It is also proposed to create quality content that will help disadvantaged students to compete on an equal footing for various national and state level competitions. This mission proposes that e-content be generated not only for PG courses but also for undergraduate and vocational courses. The proposed Virtual Technical University, VTU as we call it, shall serve as a nodal agency for imparting training to the undergraduate and postgraduate students as well as the newly recruited teachers in the field of science, technology, management, architecture, pharmacy and other applied areas. The university will provide flexible credit-based courses to all registered participants using modern technology. The modern technology will involve video courses, web-based learning material and live lectures using satellite and internet-based technologies. The aim of VTU is to serve as an agency to impart training to a large section of students who are keen to receive instruction in an ambience close to the IITs and the IISc. VTU will help them updating their knowledge and advancing their career objectives. VTU will endeavor to be a world-class institution for providing undergraduate and postgraduate technical education in distance learning mode to a large number of regular students, young teachers at various engineering colleges and professionals in the industry. Needless to say, it would offer a modular approach to education, permit horizontal transition and provide honorable exits at appropriate stages for the students. Enlistment of support and cooperation of state and union territories, institutions and individual experts is an integral part of the mission. I would request the faculties of these universities, institutions and colleges to convey us their ideas and suggestions so as to provide suitable inputs for making necessary alterations and improvements in this scheme. We are all aware of the 14th Conference of Commonwealth Education Ministers at Halifax, wherein the principle of access was highlighted as the core area of all educational developments in the following words, and I quote, "All persons have a right of access to lifelong learning by every appropriate means with full opportunity regardless of gender, race, color, age, socio-economic status, physical and other disability or geographical locations," unquote. I am happy to be in a position to state that the national mission we are about to launch today would boost our access as it would free the students from the necessity of traveling to a fixed place at a fixed time to meet a fixed person in order to be trained. It is expected that this scheme would increase the gross enrollment ratio in higher education by about 5% at the end of the 11th five-year plan. Before I end, I would like to state that we have great pleasure in presenting the salient features of this great mission in this hallowed land of the Lord of Seven Hills, whose blessings and benedictions we earnestly pray for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. We now proceed to the launch of National Mission on Education through Information and Communication Technology with a series of demonstrations which integrate content and delivery. May I now invite Shri N.K. Sinha, Joint Secretary MHRD, to give a glimpse of the mission.
Respected Union Minister of Human Resource Development, respected Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, respected Union Minister of State for Higher Education, respected Technical Education Minister of Andhra Pradesh, respected MP Tirupati, respected Minister for Medicine and Health, Andhra Pradesh, respected Union Education Secretary, respected Chief Secretary of Andhra Pradesh, respected Additional Secretary, dignitaries, academic community. Most of the salient features of the National Mission on Education through ICT have already been spelled out by our respected Minister of State and by our respected Education Secretary. But I would just like to draw your attention and also like to inform you the basic philosophy on which this mission was conceived. Not for a moment I am saying the efforts of utilizing technology for education have not been going on in the past. In fact, this effort has been going on by various professors, various people in the academic community in their own ways. And we also have known, and it is an open knowledge for everyone, everyone has tried to contribute to this universe of knowledge. But if efforts have been in fragmented quarters, and perhaps if some people have been finding that they did not have resources to take up their own challenging ideas for the benefit of the students of this country, perhaps this is the integrating force which has been visualized. There is nothing which you have not been doing. It is only an integration of various ideas that you all have put in. Now, I would just like to draw the attention to the marginalized sections. It was mentioned by our Honorable MP that we will need to focus on the marginalized sections of society so that this mission is successful. Yes, in fact, one of the major focus of this mission is that no talent of the country should go waste. And with that, in one line, it says, and talent cannot come asking for help from the government or other agencies. In fact, the paradigm has to change. And we have to go and find talent, whether they are in villages, whether they are in schools and colleges, or whether they are not having the opportunity even to attend a school. The talent not necessarily resides in having educational degrees. A talented person can be a good florist. He may not have studied, but that adds to the cultural value of the country. Now, therefore, this has been the fundamental effort, and the skilled staff has also been, we have tried to take care of. What we are going to do now is to show that at the time of starting of this session itself, there is certain degree of technological excellence available which could be utilized for taking forward these excellence. One thing is, which has already been done, is the classroom through e-classrooms. Now, IIT Madras has recorded many courses on video. These can now also be beamed online, either as video output or in streaming mode over the internet. What you are now seeing is a class being conducted live at IIT Madras. This class is on basic electronics and it is being conducted by Professor T.S. Natarajan, Professor of Physics. What may happen is this class gets beamed to the entire country. So the benefit of teaching of the IIT professors is available to the entire country. This experiment will enlighten our students, whether they are trying to do self-study or they are in some colleges, they can enhance their quality. Similar experiments have been done in other IITs also, and why only IITs, but other places also. IIT Kanpur has successfully created a distance learning program for Chhattisgarh state. Now, it is here that the focus is coming to technology from one of the premier institutions of the country, taking their learning to the state, to the rural areas and to the underprivileged. This experiment of IIT Kanpur, which is being beamed in Chhattisgarh, it is a solution that facilitates long-distance interactive e-learning using hardware-based video, voice and data recording, a real classroom environment. Which means if there is interactivity, there is voice and video, perhaps the classroom gets transformed and becomes a countrywide classroom. And that is what has been attempted. What I intend to say is that these attempts were initiative finish. Now they will proliferate and will be available throughout the country. What has made this project a success is the ease with which the solution can be implemented both at the central and remote sites. The remote site can work on a standard PC, with a webcam and the classroom sessions can be recorded and archived also. Which means if a good lecture has already been delivered, others can either take it back or archive it, and when the next generation tries to deliver the same lecture, valuation can take place. Which means we intend to add on to the repository that is already getting created. What we have seen is the live classes being held from IIT Kanpur, and they are being received at 4 locations in Chhattisgarh state. You can see the class being held at Raipur also. Similar experiments have been going on in a very major way at IIT Bombay also. I am not for a moment mentioning that only these 3 IITs are doing it. In fact, all IITs and most of the renowned institutions are into this field, but because of the shortage of time, I would not be able to throw light on various institutions' contribution to this e-learning. For IIT Bombay, we will begin with a demonstration of a live classroom lecture session from IIT Bombay. And this is being transmitted free of cost, which means anybody can access it and derive benefit from it. The unique feature of this technology is that it requires only 100 kbps bandwidth to receive. If those of you who already know, broadband has the minimum of 256 kbps, and if it is being delivered at 100 kbps, even in villages where there is the broadband has not reached, one can derive the benefits. While these things have happened, I want to draw your attention to the critical elements which criticize e-learning. Why e-learning is criticized is that it says there is no teacher pressure and there is no peer pressure. And thirdly, there is no means of conducting experiments. So unless you have hands-on knowledge, it becomes very difficult. With the available technology today, what we intend to show you is the virtual and online laboratory, which is being shown at IIT Bombay. So what they are going to show here is there is a balloon which is in IIT Bombay, and our Professor Kannan is here from IIT Bombay. He is actually operating the compressor in his lab at IIT Bombay, and then he can give the orders from here to start the experiment. It is a very simplified kind of experiment that the compressor can be turned on and balloon can be inflated. If he continues to inflate, balloon will also burst. So this, and there are robotic experiments also, which he may like to. What he is doing here is inflating a balloon. If he continues to inflate, it will burst. And this is a live video which is coming from Professor Kannad's classroom. As we can see, the balloon is getting inflated and inflated. There are many more experiments, but I will now go to, and you can see the balloon burst. Nobody has gone there. Professor Kannan had been sitting here, and he could have also driven robots, etc. These were the experiments based on broadband. That is a technology. The other technology is satellite segment. What we may now, he is trying to show that the robot can move forward, backward, etc. Next is the CEC, EduSat intervention in the field of education. What CEC has done is that it has established the UGC EduSat nationwide network and installed 101 satellite interactive terminals. The subject experts are invited and regular live transmission takes place from the CEC. Students from different parts of the country can raise questions live through video conferencing. Questions are answered by experts from the teaching. Now, through the satellite network, some of the universities have been connected and they could interact with us in real time. Now here we see that Srinagar University, Kashmir has been connected and the Vice Chancellor is there. Perhaps they may like to say a word or two if they are able to hear us, and then we may try to see how effective this is. Can you hear us? Sir, can you hear us? Now Manipur is here, Manipur University. Yeah. Yes, I think we can interact with so many people. This was also on.
We would like to convey our thanks to the Honorable Minister NHRD for this national mission on education. Even though we missed the first two, but the present speaker will get here very clearly, and the quality here. We would like to convey our thanks and forward to the benefits of this national mission on through ICT.
Thank you, sir. Now the regular transmission for the benefit of Northeast states is taking place from CEC. What is also happening through satellite is that we are witnessing real-time interactive online learning. The platform seamlessly integrates the strengths and advantages of traditional methods of education with latest technology. The powerful interface enables a student to have highly interactive sessions with the students and instructors all over the country using video, voice and data. So the satellite is available. How we make use of it is in our hands. Now we switch on to TV as a medium. This has a great power because of the reach that has been achieved all over India for the last 2 years. Some of the technologies in the TV field could be showcased through VSAT, or in TV mode. IPTV is one which provides full interactivity. One can use it for educational purposes. One can choose the lecture, one can choose what is going on in the class, give answers, appear at test. IPTV can provide that. Through DTH, some part of interactivity has also come. If the DTH transmission is taking place just like a regular channel, maybe what we see is a TV channel where there is not The interactive is not there at all. But if what is being beamed through the DTH is also captured by the set-top box, that intelligence would build into the program itself, and the learners would interact and actually benefit from it. So this was in the area of TV as an intervention. Now I would like to take the web-based interactive solutions. What we have already launched about 2.5 years ago was Sakshat. Sakshat is the portal at www.sakshat.ac.in, which will be the platform through which all the content will be generated under this mission, delivered free of cost to every learner. Sakshat has been running, and the value additions that has happened over Sakshat, one is e-books. If we go to internet and we want to read a book which has been written by some author, the internet either asks for payment, or if it's a Google book kind of scenario, then the publisher decides how many percentage of books, how many pages of that book will be read free of cost by the learners. Now here is Sakshat, on which we have held discussions with some of the publishers that they upload their books in e-format onto Sakshat, and the user decides which 5% of the fair use pages could be read. You are trying to get some formula, and that is not provided under the publisher controlled regime. You can still read it without paying for it. And one more intervention which Sakshat will do is that if a person is so poor that he cannot pay for downloading of the page or chapter or the book, and he reads it, yes, the Sakshat will pay for it, that user. That is where we also take care of underprivileged and marginalized sections of society. What is being seen here is the e-books which have been loaded and which could be seen on Sakshat to some of the publishers. Since there is not much of time, while this is being showed on your screens, I would like to give some brief introduction of a low-cost device. When we have talked of the underprivileged, how do we lower the entries, barrier entries to the field of higher education? If we say we will be providing e-content to a person in remote locality, how is he going to access content? He cannot afford a computer, he can afford connectivity, and he cannot perhaps afford a priced version of e-content. Therefore, what has been attempted, and for which there is great enthusiasm, is very, very low cost access computing device. This is a device, and you can see the length and breadth of this device. It is hardly about 10 inches long, maybe about 5 inches wide. I am not saying that it is the work of one individual. It is the work of the entire community of dedicated workers who have been working on it. And the pages that you see here are coming from the internet using this device. Like the National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning, this is coming through that device which we just showed. The other program is also the MIT's OpenCourseware. You can also play the video. In a few minutes you will be able to see how the video is played. Now it is a device which is designed with a philosophy that its ultimate price, not today, ultimate price should be $10. That is our effort. Then it should be in the hands of every Indian who is in search of knowledge. How are we doing it? Do you think India has shortage of talent? Not at all. In fact, some of the components of this device have been developed by students who have been doing their BTech project work and the students who have been doing their MTech project work, apart from the professors and other experts in the country. This device is an indication that India has the talent, and given the right kind of energy, our professors, our gurus, our experts in the industry, and our own multinationals, they can put together a thing which can challenge the world. Here, after this is over, I will just show the device, though at the moment we have been able to break $100 barrier. It has come down to a very low figure, and as our education secretary also said, it is in the range of $20 to $30, but we are not satisfied. We will try to bring it down further, and further to the extent that the whole device will be purchased at a price which is equal to the cost of books for 1 year of study. If that is there, now you have everything. The opportunities are there. You can do experiments, you can do the virtual labs, you can read books, you can watch videos, go to Sakshat, go to other internet resources and enhance your knowledge. What more a person, a learner would like, if connectivity is provided, since charges are low, this device can work wonders. This is one major intervention to which we want to address the handicaps being faced by the underprivileged of the society. And here, this device is one step in that direction. I did its development. This is still incomplete. It is going on. But I want to show you that device and acknowledge that it is the work of all of you here. It is the work of the experts of the country. We intend to go ahead with this development with your help and your blessing. That device has been shown there. We intend to put it through various field trials, and at the same time we intend to encourage competition amongst various experts in the country. Why only this device? Why not a better device? Even smaller, even much more powerful and much more beneficial to the society. This is one intervention. Now, this intervention has been happening with the voluntary efforts of you. It is not our voluntary effort. You all have contributed your spare resources, your time, energy, intellectual inputs, and this is how it is coming out. Now there is money available under this mission, and we intend to really make a device which can be a model for the world. Since we have been taking these steps, it is not that the world is not watching, and it is also not that the world doesn't want to move towards empowerment of the citizens through technology. There are softwares connecting various devices in a network independent of the platform. Obviously, there are certain IPR issues. If a proprietary software is developed, the developer may like to charge, but still it shows a potential technology which has come about. Gradually, with the advancement of the open source movement, perhaps the rest of the world will also catch up. So one such device could have been, platform independent. It is a software which can actually connect from a mobile, from a small access device, from a computer. So it goes into the realm of a software which does not require a given kind of platform. That is one other dimension which I wanted to mention. The National Program in Technology Enhanced Learning. This program has been going on for past 3 years or so. And with the expenditure of about 25 crores, we have been able to generate nearly 250 video courses and 250 150 web-based courses in our IITs and IISc Bangalore. This is a beginning. Now for this program of technology enhanced learning, in this mission 96 crore is available. Go reach the moon. Anybody. Just submit your proposals. Show it to have the metal. Take the peer group along and contribute to the repository of knowledge. Now, Professor Mangal Sundar of IIT Madras will take you briefly through various aspects of NPTEL, and then I will come back to what we intend to show today. Professor Mangal Sundar, please go ahead.
So my output voltage therefore will become synchronous.
This is a video program.
The output voltage is going to be I1 plus I1 prime into R2. This I1 and I1 prime will flow through these resistors. I already mentioned to you this current is going to be very small in a typical operational amplifier. So these two currents flow through that. The output voltage is going to be I1 plus I1 prime into R2. If I now substitute I1 prime in terms of V1 and V1 prime, we find V1 by R1 plus V1 prime by R1 prime into R2. If I make R1 prime is equal to R1, then you will find it becomes much simpler. The output is equal to V1 plus V1 prime multiplied by R2 by R1. So you have V1 plus V1 prime into R2 by R1. So this becomes, if I can choose any gain I want, like the choice of resistor R1 and R2, I see the input is nothing but the sum of the input along with the multiplication factor, which could be a gain by choice of R2 to R1. If I choose R1 is equal to R2, it is simply
now this was a video course developed under NPTEL. Since time is short, we cannot show you the full rollout of how it has been happening, but we now tell some important aspects of that NPTEL. In the field of electronics and communication BTech degree, about 18 courses have been developed by various IITs and IISc Bangalore undergraduate, that is BTech. A total of 3,500 hours of video lectures have already been produced. What I have to show is 4 or 5 formats in which it can be dedicated to this student community of this nation and also to the teaching community of the nation. This USB hard disk contains actually all 18 courses, courses of NPTEL in a compressed mode, which occupies about 60 GB of space. It is still only a third full. As this technology is developing, we expect that storage capacity will go up and the compression technology will also enhance. Therefore, perhaps the entire NPTEL content, though it will not be in the TV format, which can be telecast live, yes, it will be possible to see it on the desktop and at least zero in onto what to learn. This compression technique has been done. This CD contains the first batch which could be made available at neighborhood bookshops, and one could buy it at the cost of the device itself. There is no charge for providing video lectures. This device, what we have as a beginning of the participatory approach between the central and state governments, what we intend to do is to present this device to the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. I would take it to our Honorable HRM, and then we intend to give it to all education secretaries present here with a request that please hand it over to the CMs and let this revolution begin from the state. The NPTEL program comes in 4 or 5 formats, in either in hard disk, and the different qualities are there, or it can ultimately go to a small pen drive also. Dignitaries, what I have just tried to showcase is only a few technologies. This is not the end. In fact, I have perhaps not done justice to all the technologies and knowledge that you all have for the service of the nation. I have not been able to touch even the tip of the iceberg. With your contribution, with your energy, and with your things, I hope that this national mission on education through ICT would become a resounding success. It is a success for every one of us, for every Indian. We owe it to our nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for taking us through an enlightening demonstration of various technologies that are proposed to be harnessed to the mission for the benefit of one and all in the country. May I now request our Honorable Union Minister of Human Resource Development, Shri Arjun Singh, to kindly release norms and guidelines for the scheme of community development through polytechnics.
Yes, sir. The Polytechnic scheme and the Community Polytechnic scheme get formally.
The Honorable Minister Shri Arjun Singh will now unveil the foundation stone block for the construction of Women's Hostel in SV Polytechnic Tirupati with the click of a button on the remote cancer. We'll see how technology rises a curtain now. Or the click of a button. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. May I now invite the Honorable Mr. Andhra Pradesh, Dr. S. Rajashekhara Reddy, to deliver the presidential address.
వేదికపై పెద్దలు, కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వ కేంద్ర మానవ వనరుల శాఖ మంత్రి శ్రీ అర్జున్ గారు, వేదికపై పెద్దలారా, ఇక్కడికి ఆహుతులైన వివిధ యూనివర్సిటీ వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్స్, అకాడమిషియన్స్, ఆఫీసర్స్, ముఖ్యంగా వెంకటేశ్వర యూనివర్సిటీకి సంబంధించిన విద్యార్థులారా, ప్రత్యేకంగా ఇవాళ చాలా ముఖ్యమైన కార్యక్రమం సాగుతోంది వెంకటేశ్వర యూనివర్సిటీ. వెంకటేశ్వర యూనివర్సిటీని ఇటువంటి ప్రాముఖ్యమైన కార్యక్రమాన్ని మొదలు పెట్టడానికి ఏర్పాటు చేసుకున్న శ్రీ అర్జున్ సింగ్ గారిని హృదయపూర్వకంగా అభినందిస్తున్నా. అర్జున్ సింగ్ గారికి ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ మనందరము అంటేనూ చాలా ఎక్కువ అభిప్రాయం. అర్జున్ సింగ్ గారు ఇంతకుముందు పార్లమెంట్ సభ్యులు చింతామోహన్ చెప్పినట్టుగా వెనకబడ్డ కులాల వారికి విద్యాపరమైన, ఉద్యోగపరమైన రిజర్వేషన్ ఏర్పాటు చేసిన విషయాల్లో ఆయన్ను అందరూ కూడా పూర్ణంగా హృదయపూర్వకంగా అభినందించాలి. శ్రీ అర్జున్ సింగ్ గారు కేంద్ర మానవ వనరుల శాఖ మంత్రిగా ఉన్నందుకు ఆ మానవ వనరుల శాఖకు సంబంధించిన బడ్జెట్ కేటాయింపులు ఏ విధంగా పెరిగాయి, దానివల్ల ఈ దేశంలోని పేద విద్యార్థులందరికీ కూడా ఎటువంటి మేలు వచ్చాయి అనే విషయాలు, వస్తున్నాయి అనే విషయాలు ఇంతకుముందు మాట్లాడిన మాటల వల్ల మనం విన్నాం. ఎందుకంటే ప్రధానంగా ఇవాళ ఎడ్యుకేషన్, విద్యలో జరుగుతున్న జాతీయ మిషన్ ద్వారా ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అండ్ కమ్యూనికేషన్ టెక్నాలజీ ఎంత బాగా విద్యను అభ్యసించడానికి ఉపయోగించవచ్చు అనే విషయానికి సంబంధించిన ఈ మిషన్ ప్రత్యేకంగా 4,700 కోట్ల రూపాయల ఖర్చుతో ఈ మిషన్ ఇక్కడ ప్రారంభించబడుతోంది. మీ పార్లమెంట్ సభ్యుడు చింతామోహన్ గారు మాట్లాడుతూ ఈ మిషన్ వల్ల, ఈ కార్యక్రమాల వల్ల మార్జినలైజ్డ్ సెక్షన్స్, పేద విద్యార్థులకు ఏ విధంగా ప్రత్యేకమైన మేలు జరుగుతాయి అనే విషయాన్ని మనందరూ కూడా ప్రత్యేకంగా గమనించవలసిన అవసరం ఉంది అనే విషయాన్ని చెప్పారు. ధనవంతులకి లేదు, 10th క్లాస్లోనో ఇంట్లోనో బాగా చదువుకుని ఐఐటి లాంటి ప్రెస్టీజియస్ జాతీయ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ లో, నేషనల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ లో సీట్లు వచ్చిన వాళ్ళకైతే ఈ విధంగా ఇబ్బంది లేదు. ఐఐటీలలో లేకపోతే అటువంటి దగ్గర ఉన్న ఆ లెవెల్ ఆఫ్ కాలేజెస్ లో సీట్లు రావడం ఎంతమందికి వస్తాయి? మొత్తం సెక్షన్లో 1000 మందికి, 5000 మందికి, 10,000 మందికి వస్తాయి. లేదు, బాగా ధనవంతులు వాళ్ళకు భారతదేశం చదువుకోగలుగుతారు, లేక ఇతర దేశాలైనా పోయి చదువుకోగలుగుతారు. వాళ్ళ గురించి కూడా మనం ఆలోచన చేయాల్సిన పనుల. కానీ ఒక సాధారణ పౌరుడు, మామూలుగా చిన్న సన్నకారు రైతు, లేదు కూలి, అటువంటి వాళ్ళ పిల్లలకు బాగా ధనవంతుడి పిల్లల కంటే ఏమాత్రం తక్కువ కాని విధంగా తనకు కూడా మంచి విద్యను అభ్యసించ సాధించే ఏర్పాటు ఏ విధంగా చేయగలుగుతామనే విషయంలో ఈ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అండ్ కమ్యూనికేషన్ టెక్నాలజీ నేషనల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ మిషన్ చాలా ఉపయోగపడుతుందనే విషయంలో నాకు ఏమాత్రం అనుమానం లేదు అనే విషయాన్ని చేస్తాను. ఇవాళ దయచేసి గమనించండి, భారతదేశానికి ఉన్న అత్యంత విలువైన ఆస్తి మనకున్న హ్యూమన్ రిసోర్స్, మనకున్న మానవ వనరుల సంపద. ఈ మానవ వనరుల సంపదను పూర్తి స్థాయిలో మనం వాడుకోగలిగితే భారతదేశానికి మించిన శక్తి భూ ప్రపంచంలో మరొకటి ఉండదు అనే విషయం నాకు ఏమాత్రం అనుమానం లేదనే విషయాన్ని మనం చెప్తున్నాం. విల్ బి రియలీ ది నాలెడ్జ్ సూపర్ పవర్ వరల్డ్. ఆ నాలెడ్జ్ సూపర్ పవర్, ప్రపంచంలో ఒక నాలెడ్జ్ సూపర్ పవర్ గా మనం కావడానికి ఇవాళ మనం చేస్తున్న ప్రయత్నాలను పూర్తిగా ఫలప్రదం చేసుకోవాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ప్రభుత్వం కూడా ఇటువంటి కార్యక్రమాలు బాగా ఎక్కువగా చేసింది. చిన్న పిల్లల దగ్గర నుంచి మొదలు పెడితే 6వ తరగతి నుంచి చదువుతున్న పిల్లలకు ఈ ఒక్క సంవత్సరంలో 6,500 స్కూల్స్ లో సిబిఎస్ఈ సిలబస్, ఇంగ్లీష్ మీడియం సిలబస్ ఏర్పాటు చేసిన ఘనత ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ప్రభుత్వానికి అనే విషయాన్ని మనం చెప్తున్నాం. ఈ 6,500 స్కూల్స్ లో కూడా దశల వారీగా కంప్యూటర్ ట్రైనింగ్, కంప్యూటర్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఇప్పించే ప్రయత్నాలు ఉన్నాయి. చాలా త్వరగానే ఈ కార్యక్రమాలు పూర్తవుతాయి. దీనికి సంబంధించి ఈ నేషనల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ మిషన్ ద్వారా వచ్చే ఆర్థిక సహాయాన్ని కూడా దీంట్లో లెవెల్ చేసుకుంటున్నాం. అట్లాగే హైయర్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ విషయానికి వస్తే ల్యాబొరేటరీస్, జాబ్ నాలెడ్జ్ సెంటర్స్ లాంటి కార్యక్రమాలు చాలా ఎక్కువగా చేశాం. ఇక ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ లో స్థాపించబడ్డ, పోయిన సంవత్సరం స్థాపించబడ్డ జవహర్ నాలెడ్జ్ యూనివర్సిటీ ద్వారా 3 IIIT స్థాపించాం. ఈ 3 IIITs లో ఒక్క దాంట్లో 2,250 మంది పిల్లలకు అడ్మిషన్ దొరికింది. వాళ్ళందరికీ కూడా 10వ తరగతి పూర్తితోనే, 10వ తరగతి పూర్తయిన తర్వాత ఆ పిల్లలు మామూలుగా జిల్లా పరిషత్ స్కూల్స్ లో, తెలుగు మీడియం స్కూల్స్ లో, ఆయా మండలాలకు సంబంధించిన ఏమాత్రం స్పెషలైజ్డ్ స్కూల్స్ కానివ్వండి, లేదు వాళ్ళలోనూ అటువంటి అడ్మిషన్లు రావడం కూడా చాలా కష్టమైన పరిస్థితి ఉంటుంది. అటువంటి వాళ్ళను సెలెక్ట్ చేసి ప్రతి మండలంలో 1,100 మండలాలు ఉంటాయి రాష్ట్రంలో. ప్రతి మండలంలో ఒక 5 మందో 6 మందో సెలెక్ట్ అయ్యేటట్టు సెలక్షన్ ప్రాసెస్ ఏర్పాటు చేసి 10వ తరగతి చదివిన పిల్లలందరికీ 6 సంవత్సరాల ఇంజనీరింగ్ కోర్సు, అంటే 2 సంవత్సరాల ఇంటర్మీడియట్ ప్లస్ 4 years ఆఫ్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ కోర్స్, బెట్స్ పిల్లలు లేకపోతే ఐఐటీలో ఉన్నట్టు డ్యూయల్ డిగ్రీ కూడా ఇప్పించే ఏర్పాటు చేశాం. నాకు తెలిసి భారతదేశంలో ఏ ఒక్క ఇతర రాష్ట్రంలో కూడా ఒక్క కొత్త యూనివర్సిటీకి ఒక్క సంవత్సరంలో 320 కోట్ల రూపాయల బడ్జెట్ ఏర్పాటు చేసిన ఘనత ఏ ఒక్క ఇతర రాష్ట్రంలో లేదు అనే విషయాన్ని మనం చూస్తున్నాం. నిజంగా కూడా ఎంత కష్టపడ్డా కూడా ఈ మార్జినలైజ్డ్ సెక్షన్స్ అన్న చింతామోహన్ గారు అటువంటి బీద వర్గాలకు సంబంధించిన పిల్లలకు ఎంత ఎక్కువ మనం చేసినా, ఎంత ఎక్కువగా మనం వాళ్ళని పైకి తీసుకొచ్చినా, ఒక తల్లి తండ్రి తన పిల్లలకు ఆస్తి ఇచ్చిపోతే, ఓ 10 లక్షలు, 1 కోటి రూపాయలు, 10 కోట్ల రూపాయలు ఆస్తి ఇచ్చిపోతే ఆ ఆస్తి ఆ పిల్లలు పెట్టుకుంటారా లేదా అనే విషయం తెలియదు. కానీ పిల్లలకు నేర్పించిన చదువు ఆస్తి ఆ పిల్లలు వారి జీవితాంతము అనే విషయంలో ఏమాత్రం ఏ ఒక్కరికి అర్థం లేదు. కాబట్టి అటువంటి ఆస్తిని పూర్తి స్థాయిలో ఇప్పించడానికి ఈ రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం ఎంత విషమైన ఖర్చైనా పెట్టడానికి సిద్ధంగా ఉంది. అటువంటి రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం చేస్తున్న కార్యక్రమానికి తోడుగా కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం ఎన్నెన్నో కొత్త రకమైన కార్యక్రమాలు చేస్తోంది. పాలిటెక్నిక్స్ లోను, ఐటీలోను వీటికి సంబంధించిన ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్, వీటికి సంబంధించిన మౌలిక వసతులు ఏర్పాటు చేయడం కోసం ఇవాళ ఇప్పుడే అర్జున్ సింగ్ గారు గర్ల్స్ పాలిటెక్నిక్ హాస్టల్స్ ఏర్పాటు చేశారు. గర్ల్స్ పాలిటెక్నిక్ హాస్టల్ అంటే ఆడపిల్లలకు చదువుకోవడానికి ఎంత కన్వీనియన్స్ దయచేసి ఆలోచన చేసుకోండి. ఆ విధంగా మౌలిక వసతులు బాగా మంచిగా ఏర్పాటు చేసుకోవడానికి కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం ఇస్తున్న నిధులను పూర్తిగా వాడుకుంటుంది. గడిచిన 2-3 సంవత్సరాల్లో ఈ రాష్ట్రంలో ప్రతి జిల్లాకు ఒక యూనివర్సిటీ ఇప్పించాలనే ఉద్దేశంతో 18 కొత్త యూనివర్సిటీలు ఏర్పాటు చేసిన ఘనత ఈ రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం అనే విషయాన్ని మనం చేస్తున్నాం. ఈ ఒక్క సంవత్సరంలోనే దాదాపు 68 డిగ్రీ కాలేజీలు ఏర్పాటు చేశాం, దాదాపు 86 జూనియర్ కాలేజీలు ఏర్పాటు చేశాం ఒక్క సంవత్సరంలో. నాకు తెలిసి ఈ మధ్య కాలంలో ఇప్పుడు కూడా ఇంత ఎత్తున ఇటువంటి కార్యక్రమాలు అమలు కావాలి. అట్లాగే మీ వెంకటేశ్వర యూనివర్సిటీలో వేకెన్సీస్ ఫిల్ చేసే కార్యక్రమం చాలా పెద్దగా మొదలుపెట్టాం. అట్లాగే మిగిలిన అన్ని యూనివర్సిటీలు 100 కాదు 1000 కొలది వేకెన్సీలు ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ యూనివర్సిటీ అన్నింటిలోనూ ఫిల్అప్ చేసే కార్యక్రమం అంతకుముందు తెలుగుదేశం పార్టీ అధికారంలో ఉన్నప్పుడు దాదాపు మూసివేశారు, గేట్స్ అన్ని మూసివేశారు. నో ఫర్దర్ రిక్రూట్మెంట్ అన్నారు. కానీ రిక్రూట్మెంట్ తప్పనిసరిగా ఉండాలి. కాలేజీలో చదువు చెప్పేవాళ్ళు లేకపోతే పిల్లలకు మంచి విద్య రావడానికి అవకాశం ఉండదనే ఉద్దేశంతో ఈ రిక్రూట్మెంట్ నుండి మొదలుపెట్టిన ఘనత ఈ ప్రభుత్వానికి విషయాన్ని మనం చేస్తున్నాం. ఇన్ని రకాలుగా ఈ కార్యక్రమాలు చేస్తున్న ఈ ప్రభుత్వానికి దండగా కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం ఉంది. కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం ప్రత్యేకంగా అర్జున్ సింగ్ గారి ఆధ్వర్యంలో ఒక ఐఐటి జరిగింది, సంవత్సరం మొదలు కాబట్టి విజయవాడలో ఒక ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ కాలేజ్ ఈ 2 కాలేజీలు ఇచ్చిన విషయంగా అర్జున్ సింగ్ గారిని నేను హృదయపూర్వకంగా ధన్యవాదాలు చెప్పుకుంటూ, అర్జున్ సింగ్ గారికి తోడుగా నీడగా మన రాష్ట్రానికి సంబంధించిన బాపట్ల పార్లమెంట్ సభ్యురాలు శ్రీమతి పురంధరేశ్వరి గారు ఒక మంచిగా అండగా దండగా అనుకుంటూ మరిన్ని మేలు ఈ రాష్ట్రానికి సాధించే విషయంలో పూర్తిగా ఉపయోగపడాలి భావిస్తూ ఇవాళ ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చిన మీకు అందరికీ నా హృదయపూర్వకంగా ధన్యవాదాలు తెలుపుకుంటూ సెలవు తీసుకుంటున్నాను.
Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful presidential address. May I now request our Honorable Minister of Resource Development, Shri Arjun Singh, to address the gathering.
Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Rajshekar Reddy ji, my esteemed colleague, Mrs. Purandeshwari ji, Shri R. Chenga Reddy, Minister for Technical Education, Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Chintan Mohan ji, Member of Parliament, Aruna Kumari, Minister for Medical Education, Mr. R.P. Agarwal, Secretary Higher Education, Shri Ravikant Reddy, Chief Secretary, Shri Ashok Thakur, Additional Secretary, and Shri N.K. Sinha, Joint Secretary, HRD. After listening to the speeches of my colleagues, historic occasion. I don't think there is much to be said by me. My esteemed colleague Srimati Pradesh Devi has spoken extensively on this matter. I was just wondering how this country, our getting along simultaneously. On the one hand, an hour ago, we were in the environment of Vedanta in the Sanskrit University. And now, after an hour, we are in the realm of technology. It is this duality that is the essence of Indian culture. And I was so happy to listen to, not fully understand the speech of our respected Chief Minister, but I would like to tell him to be in the HRD department, choose this place for launching this program, not by accident. It is our desire to launch this program of technology in Andhra Pradesh and at the feet of Lord Venkateswara. Because I have observed that in the last 3-4 years, the kind of work you have been doing in every sphere of activity has given me confidence that this launch will be successful, and your efforts in that direction will be very vital to it. I had the good fortune to be working with Rajiv ji when he was formulating the new education policy of the country. Many questions were asked. How is this going to happen? Where will we get the resources? So I must say, in the realm of resources, we cannot complain, because the Honorable Chairperson of the UPA and Honorable Prime Minister has seen to it that education does not lag behind because of resources. But still, in the days to come, it will be a factor. And the answer that Rajiv ji gave to all of us is coming true in a sense today. And he said quote him, that let technology take its rightful place in India, and all this anxiety will melt away. And we are saying today that it is possible for us to communicate across the country to remote corners and take the knowledge, the best of knowledge, to the people there and give them a sense of belonging to this country. I am not a technological person. I must confess that. But it has even got me excited that after all, we are achieving what we thought it is not possible to achieve. I give credit to Mr. Sinha for General Secretary and other members of the team who have been working overnight to make this function possible. I am sure that in the days to come, more technological advances will ease the burden both financially and otherwise on the students of India, the parents of India, and yet help in taking the high place in the technological education world of the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your thoughts and for highlighting salient features of the mission on education through information and communication technology to be carried out under your guidance. On behalf of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Department of Higher Education, Secretary Higher Education, Shri R.K. Agarwal, will now present the memento to the Honorable Union Minister of Human Resource Development, Shri Arjun Singh Ji. Sir, may I now request you to present a memento to the Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Y.S. Rajashekara Reddy. Srimati D. Purandeshwari, the Honorable Union Minister of State Human Resource Development, Honorable Dr. Singh Reddy, Minister of Technical Education, Andhra Pradesh, Honorable Minister of Medical Education, Srimati Galla Arun Kumari. Now I request Sri Ashok Thakur, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Human Resource Development, to present a memento to Dr. Chandra Mohan, Honorable Minister, Honorable Member of Parliament, Sripati. Sir, you are now requested to present a memento to Shri A.P. Kanta Reddy, Chief Secretary of Pradesh. We are very grateful for the support extended to us by Shri Venkateshwara University in organizing today's function. As a token of our appreciation, Mr. Ashok Thakur, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Human Resource Development, will hand over the memento to Dr. N. Prabhakar Rao, Vice Chancellor, SC University. very popular among us, I'm guessing. A number of people have contributed selflessly towards today's function. I request Mr. Sinha to now hand over the mementos to the following people. Firstly, Professor Prem Kadra from IIT Kanpur. Professor Kannan Maudgalya from IIT Bombay. Professor Mangalasundaram from IIT Madras. Professor M.D. Tiwari, Director, IIT Allahabad. We have Mr. Tiwari here. And Mr. Pradeep Kaul, Joint Director, CET. Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of ST University and the organizers of this event, we would now like to present mementos to all our honored guests on stage. I request the Vice Chancellor, Professor Prabhakar Rao, to present the mementos. Honorable Human Resource Minister, Shri Arjun Singh Ji. Honorable Chief Minister, Dr. Y.S. Rajshekhar Reddy. Honorable Minister of State, Human Resource Development, Srimati D. Purandeshwari. Honorable Minister of Technical Education, Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Chenga Reddy. Honorable Minister of Medical Education, Srimati Galla Arunkumari. Honorable Member of Parliament, Dr. Chinta Mohan. Secretary Higher Education, Shri R.P. Agarwal. Chief Secretary Andhra Pradesh, A.P. Ramakant Reddy. Additional Secretary Shri Ashok Thakur. And the Joint Secretary Shri M.K. Sinha. Thank you so much, sir.
May I now request Shri Ashok Thakur, Additional Secretary, Department of Higher Education and Study, to propose the vote of thanks.
Honorable Shri Arjun Singh Ji, Minister for Human Resource Development, Government of India. Honorable Dr. Y.S. Rajshekhar Reddy, Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Honorable Srimati D. Purandeshwari, Minister of State for Higher Education, Government of India, Honorable Shri Chenga Reddy, Minister of Technical Education, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Honorable Srimati Gala Arunkumari Ji, Minister for Medical Education, Andhra Pradesh, Honorable Shri Chinta Mohan Ji, Member Parliament, Tirupati, Shri R.P. Agarwal, Secretary Higher Education, Shri A.P. Ramakant Reddy, Chief Secretary, Andhra Pradesh, Shri N.K. Sinha, Joint Secretary, Distance Learning, Chairman of UGC, Chairman of DEC, Directors of all the IITs, Directors of all the NITs, Vice chancellors of all the universities present here, and especially our host, Vice Chancellor of University of Shri Venkateshwar, officers from the state government and Government of India, students of this university, and dear friends. It is indeed an privilege and an honor for me to propose a vote of thanks on the inauguration, on the event of launching of the National Mission on Education through Information and Communication Technology, and also the release of the norms and guidelines through community development of polytechnics. Well, it is said that religion, or I would say spirituality and science are two sides of the same coin. I think, as our Honorable Minister said, there could have been no better place than Tirupati, where today such a program of such national importance of science and information technology, communication technology, has been launched in this spiritual city of Tirupati. I believe that great things happen when science and spirituality meet, and I hope that great things will happen out of this great event. Briefly about this project, a lot has been spoken both by our MOS and our Secretary. But briefly, if I see, it's a unique project. Unique in terms of investment, because till now, never has the Government of India thought about such a huge project. The investment is almost touching 5,000 crores. So in terms of investment, it is big. In terms of thinking, it is often said that Indians don't think large. I think now we have started thinking big, and this is one of the examples of our changed attitude towards solving problems. It is also big in terms of outreach. There is a similar program of the Department of Science and Technology known as the National Knowledge Network. At that network will cover about 1,000 institutions. But this particular project we have launched today will cover at least all the 18,000 colleges in our country, and each of the departments of around 420 universities that we have. So in terms of investment, in terms of outreach, this is a unique project. It is also unique from the point of its innovative approach. While my colleague Mr. Sinha was making a presentation, I think it warmed the cause of activities starter, because he came out with practical solutions, and we almost felt very proud of what all our institutions were doing, and this would bring about. First of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Human Resource Development Minister Shri Arjun Singh Ji for not only launching this mission at this historic and holy place of Tirupati, but also releasing the norms and guidelines for community development through Polytechnic scheme. It is due to his untiring efforts that the budget of Ministry of Human Resource Development, and more so the budget of the higher education part of it has increased several times, almost more than 9 times, as my secretary had pointed out. With such large amounts of money being pumped into the university and institution systems, we can expect high quality of education in our country, and therefore also an increase in the number of their in terms of sheer numbers. We already are experiencing almost a torrent of institutions being set up in our country, whether it is the 8 new IITs, 7 new IIMs, 20 new triple ITs, about 15 central universities, equal number of national universities, 2 SPAs, 5 SCRs, and the list goes on and on. So, credit of all this extension of reach which is being provided goes to our Honourable Minister. Not only has he worked towards increasing the reach of education to everybody, he has also devoted considerable time and effort towards the equity aspect of it. Equity has been a major concern from him, and today, if anything has happened in this way, in reaching the downtrodden portions of our sections of our society, the credit goes to our Honourable HRM. Sir, I would like to thank you for all that you have done for higher education, and also for all the students in the country. I am also extremely thankful to Dr. Y.S. Rajasekhar Reddy, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh is a very technology-savvy state, and I am sure that through his leadership, they'll derive maximum benefit out of this project, about which Mr. Sinha had made a presentation. I'm also grateful to Madam Purandeshwari, who's always very helpful and supportive to us, and whenever we have any guidance to seek, we always get it from her. I'm also grateful to all the presentations and addresses made by honorable members who are on the dais. More so, my secretary, Mr. R.P. Agarwal, who, because of his hard work, experience, and team spirit, has been able to achieve tremendous goals assigned by our Honorable HRM, who is a serious taskmaster. In the end, I would like to thank Mr. Sinha, who made a very nice presentation, all his officers who had this put on this program, Mr. Goel, our DDG, Das, Director, Mr. Paliwal, Madan Munji, Raj Kumar, Mr. Nasa, everybody. And last but very from my heartfelt depths, I would like to thank the Chancellor of the Institute. Thank you very much, sir, for all the cooperation you have given, and also to the press and the electronic media. Thank you, sir.